You know, so many people in this world just want to do whatever they feel like doing with no thought about the consequences of their actions. And it's really important for us to realize that whatever we sow in our life, whether it be through our thoughts or our behaviors, will always come back to us. This is a principle that actually applies in all areas of life. And so what I wanted to do today was just help you to become more aware of the principles that are at play so that you can start to see how your actions impact other people, impact yourself, and also start to see how other people's actions are impacting them as well, so that we can learn from it. So let's get into it. There's a beautiful proverb that states, "What cruelty sows, suffering will harvest." And at the moment that we decide to ignore this principle, we're going to experience some kind of a negative consequence. We're going to experience suffering. But when we live our lives according to this principle, we start to sow things like kindness and compassion and empathy and love. Then we start to harvest joy, happiness and fulfillment and peace. The reason why I really like this principle is because it helps us take responsibility for the energy we put out into the world. Sometimes we can blame other people for how we feel, but often we don't have that much control over other people. What we do have control over is the energy that we send out, and the more we understand that, the more we begin to see how we are responsible for our own feelings. The more freedom we actually end up experiencing. Because if we stop blaming other people for how we feel, then we can find ways to change our feelings. So when someone cuts us off in traffic, what do? Do we yell and scream and show our middle fingers? Or do we take a deep breath, let it go and accept that this person may be running late to an important appointment? Because whatever energy we send out into the world, whatever energy we put out there, is the energy we're going to attract more of in our lives. And so many people want to complain about how negative the news is, how horrible the news is, how mean people are these days, but yet they spend all their time watching the news. They spend all their time listening to negative people. They spend all their time interacting with people who make them feel bad. And then they wonder why their life feels like a complete disaster. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be aware of what's happening in the world, but it's about balance. It's about being aware of how much time we're spending focusing on certain things. Because the more we focus on something, the more power we give it over us. And so when we start to notice that we're spending too much time focused on something that makes us feel bad, that makes us feel anxious or stressed or overwhelmed, it's a good idea to try and redirect our attention towards something else, something that makes us feel good, something that inspires us and uplifts us. Because the more we focus on something, the more we're going to attract more of it into our lives. Now, I've definitely experienced this principle firsthand in my own life. When I used to focus on the negative things that were happening to me or around me, my life felt like a total disaster. But when I started to focus on the positive things, even when there were still negative things happening, my life started to turn around and things started to get better. And I realized that this principle really works. Whatever energy we put out there, it comes back to us. If we're constantly focusing on the negative things in our lives, then that's all we're going to see, and that's all we're going to attract more of. But if we start to focus on the positive things, then we'll start to see those things more often, and we'll start to attract more of those things into our lives. Another way to look at this principle is through the lens of cause and effect. Every action has a reaction. If we treat other people badly, then we can expect to be treated badly by them or by other people. This doesn't mean that we should never allow ourselves to feel bad or to express our negative emotions. It's okay to feel angry sometimes. It's okay to feel frustrated sometimes. But it's not okay to let those feelings consume us or to act on them in a way that is harmful to ourselves or to other people. When we choose to act in a negative way, when we choose to express our anger or our frustration in a destructive way, we're creating negative karma. We're creating negative energy that is going to come back to us in the future. But when we choose to respond to negative situations in a positive way, when we choose to forgive, when we choose to be kind and compassionate, then we are creating positive karma. We're creating positive energy that is going to come back to us in the future. I think this principle is really important to keep in mind, especially in today's world where it can be so easy to focus on the negative. When we turn on the news, when we log on to social media, we are often bombarded with negative information. It can be really easy to get caught up in that and to start to believe that the world is a horrible place. But I believe that this is not true. I believe that the world is full of good, and there is so much good happening in the world every single day. We just have to choose to focus on that. When I was studying abroad in college, I got pickpocketed. Someone stole my wallet, my passport, and all my money while I was visiting Greece. And so I had to spend my birthday alone in a hotel room crying because I thought my trip was ruined. But then I decided to choose a different perspective. I decided to choose to see this as an opportunity to grow, to see this as an opportunity to learn about myself, to learn about resilience. And I started to focus on all the positive things that were happening to me on this trip. And guess what? Good things started to happen. I met amazing people. I had incredible experiences. I learned so much about myself, and I came home with so many positive memories. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what happens to us. It's about how we choose to respond. It's about how we choose to see things. It's about how we choose to focus. Now, I'm not saying that this principle is always easy to follow. I struggle with it all the time. There are times where I definitely focus too much on the negative. There are times where I definitely act in a way that I know is not going to bring me good energy back in the future. But I am trying. I am making an effort to be more aware of this principle and to use it as a guide in my life, because I know that it works. I've seen it work in my own life. I've seen it work in the lives of my friends, and I've seen it work in the lives of people I've helped through coaching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, please make sure to like the video. Also, I would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this principle? How have you seen it play out in your own life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.